Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishwotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditarataschaarteshvabhignyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsurayaha Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharma Projita Kaitavotra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Vaparerishwaraha Sadyo Hridya Varudyatetra Kritibihi Shushrushubi Tatkshanat. Hari Om and greetings from Niagara Falls. The reason why we're not being silent right now is our silent seekers have been silent for 45 hours. They have engaged in enough silence for all of us. Yesterday was the day, decades ago, that Gandhiji was assassinated. And as he was dying, what was he saying? Hey Ram, Hey Ram. How is it that as one is dying, one has a smile on their face and is remembering an icon of joy? We can't relate to that. We are not dying. But even being sick, physically unwell, I need to sleep more. I need to watch more TV. Why me? The difference between Gandhiji and a person like me, he is a full-time seeker. I am a casual seeker. Full-time, this is all he thought about and spoke about and acted on. We may project him to be a political figure, yet he was a seeker. A casual seeker like me pretends to think and speak and act about the divine, when really there's an agenda, a hypocrisy. To help me, to help all of us evolve from being a part-time seeker to being a full-time seeker, we engage in Adhyatma Vidya. Adhyatma is that which helps us pull away our focus from the anatma and put in focus to the atma. Anatma, that which is not important, that which will not bring joy. Atma, that which is the most important, that which will bring the most joy. This is Adhyatma and Vidya, the knowledge to know, to feel that this is the right way to live. I know all of us want to be deeper, want to give up more, but we're held back because others tell us this is the wrong way to live. We start to have the same types of thoughts. You know you are immersing yourself in Vidya when you feel this is the right way to live. Rasa Panchadhyayihi. We are in the 5 chapters that focus on rasa. Rasa we poorly interpret as dance, when rasa rightly interpreted is joy. Rasa Panchadhyayihi. Chapter 29, the highlight is Pranaya Gita. This is the song of the gopis where they're supplicating Bhagavan Krishna. Chapter 30, the highlight is being introduced and inferring the presence of Devi Radha. In chapter 31, we will be focusing on the Gopi Gita. Now listen carefully about this. I've shared the 10th skanda, which we are in, is the heart of Srimad Bhagavatam. You all remember that? And I'd shared these 5 chapters are the breath of the heart. Like if there's no oxygen in your heart, as in there's no blood, then your heart is really going to die. This breath is compared to the Pancha Pranas. For those who know about Vedanta, we have 5 physiological functions. And the most powerful is known as the Udana Prana, which is the power that takes us from one body to another body. When Vivek's body dies, his mind and ego are going to go into a much younger, better, more handsome body, ideally a Devi's body. How will that happen? Through the Udana Prana. And I'm sharing this with you because Gopi Gita is that Udana Prana. Out of the 5 chapters, this is the most important. Some share that chapter 33 is because it is the Rasa Leela. Both interpretations are fine. If you want me to decide for you which is more important, it is Gopi Gita, chapter 31. In chapter 32, the focal point is Santva. Santva, which I think you all would already know, when the gopis supplicate Bhagavan Krishna, it's not like he leaves them forever. See ya, I'm not coming back. He obviously responds to that supplication and comes back. Santva is when they are appeased. They are relieved, the gopis. And then chapter 33 is the Leela. In English, it's defined as carnival. So chapter 33 is about a carnival. See why it's important to know Sanskrit. Where does Leela and carnival equate to each other? So I've shared with you the overview of these 5 chapters. If this was unclear for you, keep studying. And we have time for questions and reflections. All that we have experienced for almost 100 classes now is building us up, is preparing us for these 5 chapters. So much of the 10th skanda has been about the asuras being destroyed. Kalya, Vatsa, Baki, Baka. For us, subjectively, this is our vices. Bhagwan will destroy our vices if we keep him in our heart. Next is Bhagwan humbling the suras, like Bhagwan Brahma and Agni and Indra. Last week I misspoke because I was tired, not because I felt otherwise. And I said Bhagwan destroys the suras. He humbles them because for us this means ego. We sometimes have this ego that comes with virtues. I am most patient, I am selfless, and on and on and on. Shri Kabir has taught one should not have pride of their renunciation. Many do. Look at how much I've given up. If you've really given up, you don't remember what you've given up, correct? Otherwise, you've not given up. For me to say, look at how much I've given up anger or fear. Relatedly, Shri Kabir has taught one should not renounce, and concurrently, one should not be obsessed. Both of those are extreme ways of living, renouncing and obsessing. Simply be virtuous. When vices are destroyed and virtues are filled with humility, then one can experience and be a gopi. These 5 chapters, which we're immersing ourselves in, when Bhagwan Brahma tested Bhagwan Krishna, do you remember that narration? He copied himself as the cows and the children because Bhagwan Brahma had stolen them. Bhagwan Brahma repented to Bhagwan Krishna and he asked him for a boon, for a blessing. Do you know what that was? Bhagwan Brahma asks to be born as a tree in Vrindavana. And there's 2 lovely reasons for that. One I've already told you about, how Bhagwan Krishna has such love for the nature of Vrindavana. The next reason is because Bhagwan Krishna as if asks Bhagwan Brahma, why don't you want to be born as a gopi? And you know what Bhagwan Brahma says? I don't deserve that. Imagine the creator of our multiverse sharing that I'm not good enough to be a gopi. So for us to be gopis, it is very easy to look like them, yes? Both of my kids are running around right now with bindis on and malas on because they know Bhagavatam is being taught, but they are not gopis. They're between suras and asuras. I'm sharing all of this for us to deserve to be a gopi. Our Vedanta. Last week was all Katha, this week, all Vedanta. In chapter 29, the gopis left their responsibilities and went to the jungle where Bhagwan Krishna was playing his flute. How come the gopas didn't go? How come the cows didn't go? We don't think about this, correct? Until you study, you don't think about this. Only the gopis heard his flute. No other beings did, and there's a reason for that. In chapter 28, I specifically shared with all of you that Bhagavan Krishna took the gopas to the Brahma Hridam. All of those gopas were enlightened. And then after that, Bhagavan Krishna took them to Vaikuntha. And he showed those gopas who he is. They were already enlightened. And now Bhagavan Krishna is offering the same to the gopis, which is why only they heard his flute. And thinking about this even more carefully, first Bhagavan Krishna took them to Brahman and then to Bhagavan Vishnu, which shows there are not 4 Purusharthas in life, there are 5. The 4th Purushartha is moksha. We all know about that. What is the 5th? Bhakti. That's why after enlightenment, they go to Vaikuntha. For these gopis, after they go to the Rasa Leela, which is their enlightenment, what do? They keep on serving Bhagavan Krishna. In this chapter, Raja Parikshita, he questions Rishi Shuka, saying what the gopis did was wrong. They left their responsibilities to go to Bhagavan. And remember, this is a planted question. Just like Arjuna's confusion is planted by Bhagavan Krishna, the reason for this is Nishayasa Arthaya. Nishayasa Arthaya, which means the purpose of Bhagavan Krishna is to be gracious, to just bless. We think he has this very logical purpose of destroying and humbling. He just wants to give. Give who he is, give what he knows. So if you hate him, he will give to you. If you're jealous of him, he will give to you. If you love him, obviously, he's going to give to you. Nishayasa Arthaya. That is a very beautiful way to describe Bhagavan Krishna. These gopis going to him, they are desiring the one who is desireless. They have desire. He is desireless. What does he do to their desire? He makes them desireless too. That is what Bhagavan Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita. Have the desire of desirelessness. And look how long it takes Prince Arjuna. Prince Arjuna is receiving this when he's 85 years old. These gopis are 15, 25. To desire the desireless. They share with Bhagavan Krishna, you are our only relative. I'm saying that again because I feel one of the greatest pulls in our lives is attachment. Attachment to our families. Parents, siblings, kids, grandkids. These are your relatives in a most relative sense. Your only relative is Bhagavan. Your cause, your creator, your original parent. And so then naturally, your only relationship should be of bhakti. Around 3 years ago, when we were studying Vedanta and Ramayana, everyone remembers Ramayana, yes? we went through a beautiful section called Sri Rama Gita. And Sri Lakshmana and Bhagwan Rama, they never wasted time. We admire people who are strong in time management. The best are Sri Lakshmana and Bhagwan Rama. And Sri Lakshmana asks Bhagwan Rama 5 questions, the last of which is, what is bhakti? And since all of you smiled and nodded that you remembered Ramayana, then you know the answer. So tell me, what is bhakti? The chat is open. I can read. Wow. Right off with the right answer. It is depending. Depending on Bhagwan is bhakti. When you depend on Bhagwan, that is equivalent to becoming independent or independently joyous. These gopis depended on Bhagwan in every which way. Bhagwan was their drink, Bhagwan was their food. I'm also in the silence retreat, even though I talk so much. And I'd come down after a long time to the ground floor, and Sheila had asked me if I wanted breakfast, and I said, I'm just not hungry. I think I've lost like 5 pounds this week just living on coffee and protein. But in such a healthy way, because I keep thinking about the silence retreat. I keep thinking about Bhagavatam. These gopis were not jealous of each other. A common sentiment amongst those who proclaim or feel that they are bhaktas is they feel they are a greater bhakta than the next. That is an expression of ego, superiority, inferiority. These gopis were not like that. They always felt like they were a lesser bhakta than the next. And when you feel that, other bhaktas inspire you then. You don't feel jealousy, you feel inspiration. And a deep truth to this. Bhagwan, Shastra, and Sadguru all have roots in Brahman. Brahman is infinite. So, whether one is with Bhagwan, Shastra, Sadguru, or not, and I mean that physically, if one knows that these entities are infinite, it's not required that you be with them physically. You still feel their infinite presence. I remember Swamini Vimalananda sharing. She had come into a room and a lot of people were around Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. And some were massaging his feet and some were offering him tea. And she had just come in from her seva, whatever she was doing. And she had this thought, I wish I could be close to Gurudev. And immediately then, and she never verbalized it, she's far away, big rooms, you know that. He said, my real devotees are the ones who are serving in the field. See, for her, she didn't need that physical presence. For those who are of a lower caliber devotion, they need that physical presence, isn't it? And I'm sharing this again because these gopis, they were not jealous of each other. However, a trace of pride came into their personalities where they focused more on themselves than on Bhagwan. That's called avidya or forgetfulness. they were feeling that they are special. See, not in reference to the other gopis, they were just feeling that they're special. And when that feeling comes, who should be focused on? Who is really special? Bhagwan. And since they felt that they were special, Bhagwan felt like he wasn't special. So what did he do? See ya. You all enjoy your mind games. That was all the Vedanta in chapter 29. Now in chapter 30. For us, we very much live by out of sight, out of mind. I know this, which is why we started Easy Evenings. So you keep seeing the scary face. And in your mind then is self-development. For the gopis, they never lived by out of sight, out of mind. As soon as Bhagwan Krishna, his physical presence disappeared, they thought about him more then. The whole idea of absence makes the heart grow fonder. All of them, their hopes, their lives depended on his katha. Many of these gopis never saw Bhagwan Krishna, but they only heard about him. And they depended on what they heard about him. Shravana, Shruti, they contemplated on him. So when his physical presence was not there, they missed him, but he wasn't out of their minds. They started acting like Bhagwan Krishna. Remember I told you some of those details. One gopi was dancing on the head of another gopi, like she was Kalia. One gopi had her arm around another gopi who was kissing her, like they were going on a date. What this shows for us, a jiva's dharma, our responsibility, is to invoke Jagadishvara's dharma. Let me open this up some more. A framework to understand Vedanta, self-development, is Jiva, Jagat, Jagadishvara. The Jiva has to become one with Jagadishvara. What does the Jiva do? Becomes one with the Jagat. All we do is think and speak and act about articles, beings, and circumstances, correct? But what did the gopis do? These jivas did become one with Jagadishvara. They thought like him, they spoke like him, they acted like him. This virtue is called samadhana. Samadhana means to focus. While their hands were cooking and cleaning, where were their minds? Focused on, this is my seva, my dharma for Bhagwan. And if one is ever engaged in samadhana, that leads them to samadhi. Samadhana is the means, samadhi is the end. I was just sharing with the silent seekers. Samadhi means to well and fully place the ego in the spirit. In the language of Bhagavatam, to well and fully place the jiva in the Jagadishvara. That is Advaita. If the jiva goes into Jagadishvara, Jagat goes too. There is only oneness. In this chapter, we were also introduced to Radha, Devi Radha. Another name of hers is Radhika. Many of our students, their names are Radha, Radhika. In the text, the word that is used is Araditaha. araditaha. The more common expression is aradhana. Like Chinmaya aradhana, Tapovana aradhana. This is a day of worship to Swami Chinmayananda, Swami Tapovanam. The way to understand this, aradhana has the same meaning as bhaja. Bhaja. Shall I ask what bhaja means? Let's see if anyone can come up with the 6 layers of bhaja. The first one is to sing with a G. Deeper than that, to seek. Deeper than that, to serve. Good. Deeper than that, to worship. Deeper than that, to love. Sing, seek, serve, worship, love. And what is the fulfillment of love? There's a hint here and a hint back there too. To be. That's right. Which is why in some texts, and maybe we'll see this, what happens to Devi Radha? She as if disappears. What does that mean? She became Bhagavan Krishna. What happened to Devi Meera? She became Bhagavan Krishna. Devi Radha, to truly appreciate her, one needs to study associated texts. And we're moving so slowly in Bhagavatam, I can't let us veer off into studying Devi Radha also. I have lots of visions about what we can do together, like studying Devi Mahatmya, studying the entire Mahabharata. So be healthy so we can keep on studying all of these amazing scriptures. Some more interpretations of Devi Radha. She is an icon of the Atma. And Bhagavan Krishna is an icon of Brahma, as in Brahman. Which is why Bhagavan Krishna and Devi Radha never got married. They never needed to because they are the same being. Did you marry yourself? How come I wasn't invited? Who facilitated this ritual? I don't think you can marry yourself. One of you do some research on that if that's legal. Impossible. They never got married because of the same being. They are also Ardha Nari Ishvara. We typically see that with Bhagavan Shiva and Bhagavati Parvati, correct? Bhagavan Krishna and Devi Radha are the same. And this is so moving. Our ashram in Niagara Falls, at our altar is Bhagavati Radha and Bhagavan Krishna. So most fitting. The final Vedanta that we extract from chapter 30. Isn't this amazing? Bhagavan Krishna hiding is really Sat Chit Ananda that is as if covered by the ego. In our silence retreat, I've been sharing, the ego makes us extrovert. So I think about the intellect and mind, etc. But when you contemplate, you have to make the ego become introvert to the spirit. So this ego is like a force, and you have to be stronger to push that ego into the spirit. Then Bhagavan Krishna is not hiding. We are not looking at him. So in this katha, it's like Bhagavan is hiding and the gopis are seeking. In our lives, we are not looking. we are forgetting, and that's all ego. These gopis, they went looking and looking and looking for Bhagavan Krishna. They never gave up. This shows their steadiness, their sincerity, stamina. A lot of us are steady and sincere, but we lack stamina. And the evolution of stamina in seeking is surrender. Their surrender was them going back to the Yamuna, where they started with Bhagavan Krishna, and what did they do? They sang. That is where Gopi Gita begins. This will be shared more at the completion of these 5 chapters. Whenever there's a Gita in Sanatana Dharma, there is always a Phala Shruti. You sing, this is what you will get. Hanuman Chalisa shares that. Vishnu Sahasranama. The Phala Shruti of these 5 chapters, particularly the one that we are about to experience next week, is you will renounce worldliness. To renounce worldliness. That is a deep reflection for us to end this class with. Oh.